Hey, good morning, sis. Happy Sunday to you. Uh, it's 10:32 in the morning. I'm just waking up. It's been 1 week since I've been in this apartment. I feel so happy and just at peace. I really enjoy being single. You don't have to wake up and obligate yourself to people. Anyway, I'm gonna get to that in a second. But want to make sure you guys are okay, cause y'all were acting some hot ass fools last night. What was going on with your lives? It was going down. I look like Medusa right now. But that little neck pillow. Don't even trip. But I'm telling you, our 40s are the new 20s. It be going down, girl. Oh no. I'm enjoying my best life right now. Anyway, sorry I couldn't make it. Actually, no, I'm not sorry I couldn't make it, girl. I'm waiting for my period to come. Like, I don't know what it is. I cannot wait for this phase to pass of our lives and go to that next phase. That monthly visitor is annoying as fuck. I'm nice to see all my body's intact and everything's working. But my doctor is a man, and he is saying that unless there's something wrong with me down there, he is not going to get rid of it. Even though my tubes are tight, even when it's not completely tied, it should be. But I'm gonna get a second opinion because those monthly cramps every month, like you feel me because you have Percocet too. I mean, those labor pain contractions, like, I don't know, it's crazy. And it's getting worse. The older we get, the worse it's getting. And it's not fibroids. It's not even, no, I had a cyst. I think I have another one. But that pain every month. But if we're not using the equipment, like, I'm not trying to reproduce any more children. I have one, that's good enough. Next up is grandkids. Later. Way later. But I don't need this anymore. And who are men to sit there and tell us what we can do with our bodies? That's like that Roe versus Wade thing or whatever. People try to tell us what we can. We can't be pro-choice, or if we don't even want the equipment down there anymore, we can't do what we want to do. But it's our body. We have to suffer through this. How does that work? Anyway, I'm going for a second opinion. Yeah, my period's coming. I feel it coming. Good morning, beautiful. I'm on my way to church. I hope you behaved last night. Talk to you when I get a chance. No. Oh, God. Anyway, my focus is to stop putting energy and focus into this. I'm not changing my phone number, by the way. I shouldn't have to keep having to remix my life to get away from people who I do not want anymore. But they're trying to make a peaceful way for it to exit and still be cool, but can't because motherfuckers don't get the message. Anyway, so on good notes, we're gonna focus on good here. I really am happy. This is my first full 7 days in being in this place. Well, tomorrow, official movement was no, official movement was actually last Sunday. But you see my journey, and it feels good to be single and free and alone. Yes, my face is fat because the neck rest thing, and plus my period's coming. But anyway, where do I start with this? I've been doing a lot of thinking. This is really is the time now I can truly focus on my healing process. It's like the world is mine right now, and I'm getting continuous confirmation, even seeing my son last week. And I've been thinking before even seeing him, because I spent so much time this past year going through chaos, through the domestic violence thing, through the cancer radiation thing, through having to lose everything and recreate myself, to being homeless, to being in a domestic violence shelter, and then having to start the healing process and therapy, and being pregnant again twice, not purpose. Ah, and losing babies and dealing with crazy ass baby daddies who have been incarcerated and have a whole different type of like institutionalization thing going on, to the dating game again, to being cougar or Stella who got her groove back. I don't know. But aside from that, it really does feel good. Like, you know how I am. I know I'm the hostess with the mostest and like TJ's gingerbread house. But I never realized, like, just even being by myself, I really like the fact I'm waking up right now. Not feeling obligated to have morning sex with my partner or make breakfast I can do what the fuck I want to do. And just waking up in peace at my own pace and do what I want to do in my own space. This is fun. I forgot how enjoyable this is. And it helped me understand, because even for a couple of our homegirls, I had a conversation too with one of ours. You were there for that night. But why do you feel like you have to have a man? Like you have to have someone to validate you, and you should be validating your damn self. Some people feel like they have to be, like it's more of a codependent thing. But why do you feel like you have to have someone? You people say your other half. No, I want a whole. Stop saying shit like that. That's irritating as fuck. I don't know. But I really am happy. Like, I don't know, you can see it too. All I have to work on is stop late night eating because my face is getting fat, I'm seeing. It's just I don't know, my whole sleep schedule is off. I'm just really, truly relaxing, taking self-care. So even for tomorrow, besides shopping, and I meet with the program I'm in that is giving me the gift card for more furniture, you know, that domestic violence situation, it's going to sound weird, but it's a blessing in disguise more than you know, because that's how I got my freedom. I can't begin to explain. So it's like, in the meantime, what I want to do is to give a thank you card to my mother and stepfather and just say thank you. Because it was not for them putting me through all that hell for all my life and putting me through everything what I've gone through, and for all those events to happen, even going through the trenches this past year, I would have never gotten my freedom. And so you think about, remember, even me growing up, I've always been obligated to somebody. Always having to be the yes girl and the people pleaser. And I'm going down a spiritual inventory right now of things I'm working on and breaking those bad patterns and things I've been pre-programmed to all my life. So you remember how I always keep saying to myself, I'm Miss Seeley. You know what I'm saying? I'm Miss Seeley. So think about the color purple. And ever since she was a child, she always had to cater and obligate herself and compromise herself to somebody else. And it wasn't until the end of the movie that she truly started finding herself. So same with my brother. So we're doing true stories. I'm sitting here going on a spiritual inventory, just sitting here reflecting. And I really am grateful. It's not because it's Sunday, girl. I'm grateful every day. As you see, I'm just a very happy person, even if I had nothing. But even starting with my brother, if I didn't cut his toenails or bite his toenails off with my teeth or give him food the way he wanted to, whatever else, I get my ass beat since I was a kid. Don't forget I lost my innocence to him, my biological brother. For my mom, even for my stepdad, even to my dad to some degree, my dad never did anything weird like that. My dad is a strong cat. But I've always lived in someone else's dreams of doing what they expect me to do. But I never had a chance to do what makes Tammy happy. I lost that part of myself at the price of having to please everybody else. And so it's interesting to me is people take, when you say the word no, and I'm not okay with this, and I'm not comfortable with this, and setting boundaries, they take it as you going against them, and therefore they attack you any way they can. And people don't like rejection. And I'm so used to 40 some years of always saying yes to finally saying the words no. It's weird to enforce those boundaries. Believe it or not, that's crazy. But it feels good. If I don't want to see you, I don't fuck with you, even for last night. You guys invited me to go out last night. I want to kick with you guys, but I am tired. My period's coming. And I just want to chill. I can't be out every night. My headspace is somewhere else. I said the word no. You were cool enough to go ahead and respect it. Everybody else, no, not everybody else. Tiana thought I was being stuck up. No, bitch, I just don't feel like going out. I'm so sorry. I don't feel like entertaining. You get tired of that. So anyway, with all this time I have, now I have time. So I was supposed to go back to work in November. I have been out since December 27th of last year. Woo. And I need that time. And, oh, that backdrop too? You haven't met Damon yet, but some of your guys' cards, birthday cards, and just some of his creations, and my little vision board down there. That huge red piece that's phoenix wings. That's going on my next tattoo design. I'm gonna ask Grant if he wants to do it for me because he does tattoos now. So he has a paying customer. Oh Lord Jesus. Anyway. But he has a paying customer waiting for him, and I would love to be his guinea pig. Just don't fuck it up. I'll be mad at you, but not that mad. I still love him. That's my son. But anyway, I really am happy. I feel blessed. Where can I find an opportunity to recreate myself like this? I have not realized how much I've lost myself in investing in others. And I remember some things that my aunt told me before I cut her off. Because anything that cut to my mom, aside from Grant, I cannot be associated with anymore. You're guilty by association of things that you knew about. And still even for at the very end when things happen and how it happened. From my mother's side. But anyway, yeah, I'm a soapbox. But owing to this program, I had to go through hell. Go through all that hell for all these years. And people know some stories, but I've spent so much time people pleasing everybody else. This truly is the time, the right time I can actually breathe and recreate and be me and find myself again. So I know that many of you guys are asking me, you and Tiana, all of you guys are asking me, because as much as I like to write online, and even after my dad, all I've been through after the murder and all this crazy stuff that's happened to me, now I think I'm ready to write that book. That true story. That's going to be a bestseller. I'll still be using some aliases, though, for some, to protect the innocent. The question is, what do I want to do? Because I have a job to come back to. I was supposed to come back in November, and my doctor is very understanding. He's known the whole situation of what's happened. He met Dante too. Good Lord Jesus. Anyway, but he's going to extend me from November until my absolute deadline. I have to be back to work for a whole full year is January 1st. So I'll probably be back by December 29th or December 30th. But I have that time. I have this time truly to breathe and figure out what I want to do. So I'm still going to keep the county job. That's cool. That's stability right there. I'm going to do like how my dad did. And you remember how my dad, he was the chief building superintendent for that huge ass medical and dental office building in Berkeley for over 20 some plus years. And then he still created businesses. And even with that, you guys remember that too, because you worked for me too for a little bit after he passed. But I'm a daddy's girl, as you know. And whatever daddy wants, he got. He would give me the weirdest things. He would give me the weirdest assignments out of nowhere. That's Steve. I'll hit him up. What's up? But he would give me the weirdest assignments. So how is it? And then keep in mind, I'm a young kid, but he was training me. And this is what I love about my dad. True story. What I love about my daddy, even for how my son is, because he has this in our blood. That's not on my mama's side. That's my dad's bloodline. Even for his dad's bloodline, too. My dad, as an early age, and Grant was a part of this process, too. So even as daddy, whatever he envisioned, it was my job to make it happen. So if you remember the whole story. We go way back. That was when I was dating that firefighter mechanic dude, Mike, the German firefighter. Oh, God, what was I thinking? Girl, no more Craigslist. Anyway, remember my dad's, you weren't there that day, but you're around. So my dad's vision was he had been at that job for a while, and the boss wanted to open new doors. My dad's been a chief building engineer, superintendent there for pretty much ever. I mean, my dad, you see how my dad was. My dad was a smooth, and he just knew some stuff. My dad always knew how to fix and invent things and make it better. And so he said, Tamara, how come we can't take over the janitorial business? I've never started a business before. This is like when this is since 2005. 2005. I remember because we started October 1st, 2005. So it was my job, whatever daddy wants, and I'm talking about commercial, 34 different medical and dental offices. We had to get our own equipment, research the liability and compliances, had to hire, fire, interview, and train. And I'll never forget the first night we started, we had hired a crew. These people are all new for us. And this is out of nowhere. And after a while, we had to let them go because we didn't know there's a first turn or run with cleaning all those offices and seeing what it takes. I'm talking about medical and dental offices are a lot more thorough than just regular cleaning. 34, you have to do it in one shift, like an 8-hour shift. Me and daddy damn near stayed up the whole night, and even he had to lay down on the floor and rest while I'm sitting here busting garbage cans and cleaning the counters and all this other stuff for every single office in detail. But from start to finish, he said, Tamara, we can do this. This is your job to make it happen. That's a lot to take on. I was in my 30s. I don't know what the fuck I was doing, but we did it. We smoothed out the kinks. We had to do some layoffs. We had to redo the payroll and restructure taxes, all the stuff we had to do. But whatever daddy wanted, I created. And he did that for, as he always said before he passed away, he did it even in the end, before his murder. I'm doing this for you, Yancey, my brother, and Grant. My dad did that for us. He always saw a vision about us. And he always said, even when I bought my first house, and he invested about $50,000 to help with closing costs. No, it wasn't 50, it's about $20,000 for closing costs alone. And I just started dating that firefighter guy. Okay, so we started the business when I was with Jesse still. And then I transferred to the firefighter guy. So I bought my house, closed escrow. Single family home with a pool, if you remember. Because I was always having the parties. And he was like, Tamara, he said, this is a very bad idea. He says, you and Grant take this money and go get a condo for you and him. But he said, this is not a good idea for that dude. Like, my dad knew it was not going to work. And sure enough, it didn't. And he still invested in me. But he was always like, you worry about you, yourself, and Grant. And you and your brother, even though it's hard for parents. You know my story, my brother. Even at the end, I still was his keeper. But he says, at the end of the day, you and your brother only have each other. He says, if something were to happen, you guys still have to take care of each other. That was my dad's wish. Whatever daddy wanted, I did. So even for my brother, as abusive as he was, tried to have me killed, all kinds of shit, I still did what daddy wanted. So even when my brother went to rehab and didn't have a place to go and was homeless, I still was my brother's keeper. That's a hard thing to forgive the person who's abused you and forgive. Even down to him in his funeral services, he was buried and had the services in the same exact spot where I put my dad to rest. But all he did was expected of me for not just the janitorial, but even for the security thing. We did the security thing a few months later. We did October 2005. We did the janitorial business. Got it up and running. In fact, it's so funny. I saw one of my employees the other day, Naomi, and I actually ended up giving her the business. That was Daddy's wishes too, because it was too hard for me to handle. Just as emotionally was too hard. And I gave her and her family the entire business. Over $100,000 a year. But they have been so loyal to us and still loyal. That was his wish, and I did that. For security, he wants security, so I had to sit there and figure out what to do for getting a PPO. I already had my guard card. My brother had worked security before, and I had other employees and cross-referencing and doing this other stuff and fighting compliance again, uniforms. So again, that was in June 2005. On top of the janitorial, on top of helping Daddy with the building engineering stuff, I still did what he wanted. And whatever he envisioned, if he had the opportunity, it was my job to make it happen. And I took it to benefit us, even though it was irritating. I had to sit there and work some nights, do security. And then even my son's a little mini security guard. He was a little miniature like security supervisor. Even for the janitorial, Grant was helping me buzz garbage cans and mopping and cleaning fixtures. And he was like 5 years old doing this, okay? Yes, I trained a beast, but my daddy trained me. We're training everybody. And then it came to landscaping. And then he wanted me on top of this. He envisioned me for real estate. Real estate's how it started, because no, you don't remember. But my dad had a 5-unit complex at first, way back when. And I don't know why he sold it. I don't know why he sold it. But he wanted me to get into real estate. When I got back from my divorce with Tony, that's before even this janitorial business. And I'll never forget, I was at HMC Realty. I was a processor. And because of them and through them, they walked me through things. Even before then, they refinanced his house. And I was a part of that. That was his first house. And then on top of that, we wanted to create a property management business. So that's why I started working for Rental Housing Association, just so I can learn the basics. And I'm still doing property management on the side. But Daddy opened all these doors because he says, Tamara, why can't we? Why don't you? And we should do this. And you're going to make this happen. This is what you're going to do. And just told me what to do. They didn't even tell me. He just said, I want this to happen. And I do what Daddy says, including real estate license, including notary, process serving. Even for the legal background, I'm going to tell you, I would have never gotten into legal stuff if it was not for him. Because when him and my mom were going through that divorce, after she cheated with Winston, or my abuser, my mom was one of those shady females who tried to get the kids to turn against her father and use the kids for leverage. My mama, Carmen's a bitch. She wondered why both her kids, and all the kids, including my stepbrothers, can't stand her. My dad was not the person. My dad was very straight shot. So he said, you know what, Tamara, while I had time with him as a little girl, that was in 86 or 87 when it started. He did not show me or tell me lies. He showed me facts and walked me through the importance of maintaining documentation and how to be organized. And this is what's really going on. You see this for yourself. It was because of my father, what he went through with my mom, even through high school, and she ended up having to pay him after she got caught up in her lies. And I saw the receipts for myself, and I saw the paperwork, how I was organized and what to look for, what not to do. It was because of my dad that I got my paralegal background. And even after he moved from the house and got his first duplex, his first duplex after that was in 2001. He got the duplex. I moved in the unit, one of them. That was in 2003. That's when I started working for Rental Housing Association. He was like, Tamara, was it Nathan O'Malley, whatever his name is, O'Malley, whatever the hell, one of those people. But anyway, somebody from the city had attached the taxes through that divorce from his old house to his current property. But my mom's responsible for them. So they put a lien or something on there. And he was like, Tamara, I need to get this taken off. So my thing is, if I see my dad stressed out, I'm going to fix it. And I fixed it. I don't know how I did it. My thing is just to make shit happen. But it's because he prepared me. Like, for real. My son just joined. Yay, I'm so happy. So anyway, that's my son. I'm going to get to that next too. But all these things that I did was to please and help and save the world. Even for my mom with that whole huge legal fiasco and more, for her former pastor, that she did things just for out of ego and pride and not for the right reason, just to showboat or showcase because she knows her daughter could sit there and fuck some shit up for somebody. I'm a Doberman for a reason. And she got mad at the first time in 2013, because I did not want to be involved in that circus. I just knew it was bad. It wasn't for the right reason. It just was going to be too much of a mess. But what they asked for, what they got, I did. including to expose all the receipts and bring some things to light that they didn't even know about. And he pretty much, that church is no longer pretty much, it's just, it was bad. But I did what my mom asked me to. I'm always a performance monkey. I'm always a people pleaser. Even for my dad's funeral. And he came to see me a month before his murder. Well, we saw each other the weekend before, but he came to my house the month before. And he brought the pink slips. That's another thing too, even for creating the businesses and having to do legal work and have to do a 2-year litigation against one of the tenants because my brother did some stupid shit for a medical doctor's office and they made up some stuff. A 2-year litigation. In fact, I just saw the attorney one of the attorneys who fucked up our the litigation at first, and I had to sit there and take the reins and won the case. That was October of 2010. That was right before that same month that Daddy gave me that Hemi. But whatever Daddy wanted, I did. I'm good at what I do. Even to get other clients for the property management thing and creating LLCs, all the stuff I did is because my dad said, you can do this, we can do this, I'm doing this for you guys. And I do not discount the fact that I'm so grateful for my father. I'm so grateful for my father because my dad would, he talked to me. He doesn't just sit there and lecture and say, do as I say, not as I do. My dad would live by example. That's my son. I'm so happy. But, and Grant, your post will not be on public. I'm not putting your stuff on Facebook. This is between me and you. I have some good stuff for you. Yeah, I'm putting this on Facebook, girl. Before you even ask, we're going on Facebook with this, and I'm soapboxing. What I love about my dad is that he took time to show you by his example. So if he said, you know, it's not good to drink and drive, and you know how his youngsters are acting all wild out and stuff, you know, he would say, why? Because he's been there. When my mom had him go to the trenches, he left everything he had. He left Porsches, BMWs, the clothes he even had. I mean, tuxedos, all of his clothes. And had to restart from fresh. So the same trenches that I went through this past year, I would have never been able to make it if it was not for my father. Because I've seen what he did and how he rebuilt himself. And stuff is just stuff. And it could always be replaced. And what's most important is your peace of mind. I remember coming in from the club after going to Cal State East Bay or Cal State Hayward. And even though I was stripping and more, but he didn't know the more at that time. He didn't know the more. But he was seeing how much cash I was bringing in. I was balling. But I was staying with him because I was still in school at the same time. And he would make sure I'm okay. And I could fall asleep at the end of his bed, like on the floor or on this sofa while he's talking, just listening to him, because he just tell you about life and how it's important to do the right thing, how it's important to be honest and work hard. And what are your plans, but not to lecture you like really parent. It really was an angel. But all these things I've done on top of, I'm being emotional, don't mind me, my period's coming. All these things, but on top of that, when I say people pleasing, you know how hard it is to keep me off the market as far as dating? Everyone's trying to boo up. I really have never truly been single for a long, long period of time. Not like, it's always somebody. And so whether I'm married or engaged or in a long relationship, I always had to dedicate myself to somebody or be put on lockdown or sought after. Even had to get a couple restraining orders against folks along the way because they do not understand the word, I don't want to fuck with you. Even for this current situation, there's a lot happening in my life right now. They don't go away. I don't know what's in my pores. But I've never had a chance to fully work on me. And even for the period I was celibate for those years, I was still grieving over the loss of the person I was supposed to marry, as we had an arrangement. But things happened the way they're supposed to. And even for that, I dedicated so much of my life to my child up until he got that teenage phase. We're okay, we're gonna mend this and make this right. And because of circumstances, but I was always losing myself in somebody else. And it's so hard to figure out now that my son is grown, he's doing his own thing, and I support him. I cannot wait to tell you what's going on. And I'm by myself. What makes Tammy happy? What do I want to do? And I'll never forget that for Daddy. It was one weekend I was working with him. I think we're doing landscaping outside the main site. Ooh, tea. Come on. And I was so tired because I was questioning myself then. You know, I'm always doing what everybody else expects of me. And Daddy thinking he's doing this wonderful thing, which he was giving me his kids a blessing, his grandkid a blessing. But I said, Daddy, this is not my dream. This is not what I want to do. I'm doing what you want me to do, but this is not what I want. Because there was so much pressure. If you remember some of the shit I was going through, so much pressure having to handle all that stuff alone. I'm talking about janitorial, security, landscaping, litigation, still having to do the admin stuff in the background, still hiring, training, firing, working at the same time with that part too, on top of trying to reinstate or get my real estate license, on top of litigation, property management for other clients that go connection to us, and still learning Daddy's trade too for being a building engineer because I helped to do his job too. It was a lot happening on top of being a mom. But I never had a chance to really figure out what I want. But I told him that. I never forget I told him that. And he got quiet when I said that. And I know what his vision was for me. But here I go again. What do I really want to do? And so I have all these gifts. I'm good at a lot of stuff. I'm not a jack of all trades. But what makes me happy? I know that part of the reason I want to read is I discontinued my process serving because I get the paralegal shit. Just because you're good at it does not mean that it's something that I enjoy. You get tired of hurting people. So the same way I sit there and serve paperwork, for instance, it's like divorce papers. I'm blessing and protecting one person with a restraining order divorce papers and fucking up somebody else's life on the same action. You get tired of being angry and stressed out and hurting people. It's a lot. It's draining. It's not good for your spirit. And if people are not honest all the time, it's not good. And I want to do something that's going to bless others and be spiritually nurturing for me. So my question is, as I have a job to return to, and I'm very blessed with that too, aside from that, I'm going to do what Daddy did. Because as he had that job, he still had the side business on the side. It's time to create myself. I'm so proud of my son because he has his hustle. I'm so glad to have seen him. But then he has these other ideas he's building on the side. He's building his empire. He has all the tools and has a lot of training. He's in the background. Even when I was doing property management, he was there with me at 5 and 6 and 7 years old and everything else, serving papers and eviction papers and helping to paint and all this other stuff. He has seen everything. So the same tools that Daddy gave to me, my son has that and then some because he has pimp and game on both sides of the family, his daddy's side and his mama's side. We are some hustlers. So what can I do? Because he has some business ventures. I'm so proud of him. And speaking of which, I'm going to send him I sent him some Marco Polos. I hope he watches. But what about Tammy? So Tammy now it's October now. I have been blessed where I don't have to worry about rent for a whole year. And that'll give me time to save up. And I still have savings. And I have something set aside from him he doesn't know about to help him with his venture more than he realizes for my son. But after this, I'm going to stack up and I'm going to buy another property. I want to buy another house. I want to buy my own house in my own name and capitalize. I want to do transitional housing because when I was into that domestic violence shelter, and they keep saying shelter is more of like a triplex. And they have like these rooms like a dormitory. And so you have roommates Or sometimes they have families with a mom and kids. And so for domestic violence and human trafficking, it sounds raunchy and people give it such a bad rap. It's like basically having an apartment complex or a dorm with a free range, huge kitchen and living room space and a huge backyard and all these things going on. But the government and these government type of organizations pay your property, pay you. And if you remember that the older guy who was crushing on me, Mr. Will, the one who was also my huge sponsor while I was homeless for some of the stuff, but he was still a good friend. I had to cut him off because he was looking for more and then he was looking for a payback, and not the kind I'm talking about. But he's also a broker on the side. And that's what caught his attention with me, because we talked real estate, we speak each other's language. And he was saying to me, he's like, I don't even have to have a real estate license for this, but why not? They have these programs. You have a single family home for first time home buyers, or if you have not owned a home in over 3 years. And you have to have a 620 FICO credit score. I have way beyond that, thank God. What else? You have to have stable income for 2 years. I still have my stable job, proof of income, good to go. But they pay your closing costs, and they pay for your down payment too. So I'm thinking, with all this going on, I have a chance to get myself together truly, because between Dante, that was a huge amount of chaos. Even as I was going through my situation, that was majority of my stress, as you can see. It's still not quite done, but at least I have my own space, and I've set some boundaries, and I don't know what's going to happen with that. The intervention went well, but not that well, because I'm trying to hurt people, not trying to hurt him. I just need him to stop certain things. And I still have a life to move on to. I'm not in love with that man. And he does not know how to take the word no, because he's never had someone like me. Yes, I know. Story of my life. But I'm thinking of, if I buy a single family home, because duplex to triplexes don't qualify, I can turn that one bedroom into a transitional or domestic violence shelter. And I know how it's run. I talked to the owner of one of the properties, the one I went from, who's the one who gave me this free apartment, the one who's giving me the gift card, the one who kept me sheltered and happy and safe. And I've been a part of both sides. Not only have I could be an owner, but I've been there, so I understand what it takes and what's required and what to look for. But once you buy your property, the government, those agencies rent that property from you. So if I buy like a 3-bedroom house, and for that type of program, it caps off at $715,000, I think. And the thing about that, you can go ahead and get you a auction price, get an auction house, trustee sales, all that stuff. You can get something for much cheaper, but capitalize. But why not turn that space into a transitional or domestic violence shelter and capitalize? So I'm doing something that still gives back and still capitalizing on it. After all this time, you guys see how much I write on Facebook. And I release so much pain. Because some of you guys know, you see I type around 80 plus words a minute. Thank you for Bishop O'Dowd and Mr. Chakowski for typing class for 2 semesters. I was a star pupil, and I'm a nerd who skipped a grade. But it's time for me to tell my story. So all those things I put on Facebook and type to vent, it's time to tell my story. There was Cupcake Brown, I like her. There's a Iyanla Vanzant, Yesterday I Cried, Maya Angelou. There's a lot of people who inspire me, but it's time to tell my story. And so I think while I have this time off, I'm going to start working on my book. Finally, after Daddy's murder, after rape, molest, incest, after having everything and making 6 figures down to nothing and being homeless and then rebuilding and doing it again, after being blessed, after meeting people who inspire me and save me, and God sends angels in so many forms, including you, including for the lady who I met at the bar that night, but I met Big Red and Silverback. She really has been an angel too. She's very sweet. In fact, we're going to the event tonight. You have a chance to meet her. You guys get along. You guys are both like balls to the wall. You guys are cool. You guys are funny as hell, but tell like it is. And a complete stranger. I just came in there to stop my head and just to see what was in there. I've never been in there before. And be instantly connected. To even my roommates, my former roommates. I'm by myself. But when I'm staying at that shelter, you just meet people and hear stories, and you think you have it bad. You hear and seeing so much worse. But people will still stay in contact with me. In fact, I have to call big sis, she's Simone, hella cool, Tassi. I have to call her back and check on her because she's been reaching out to me. And then you just meet people. It does not make a difference about the culture, your background, because we all have the same heart. But you meet people who really change your life. And so I think I'm going to start writing my book. I'm going to start saving. In the meantime, I'm starting to do things that I enjoy. Even though I'm good at what I do, does not mean I always want to do it. So to wake up and not have to feel obligated to have to fuck somebody with morning sex or make breakfast for them, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, get up and walk around, do what the fuck you want to do, and rest and just be at your own pace. I love it. And people think I'm being mean or I'm being weird or depressed. Sometimes you just like your own company. It's nice to go to the movies and have lunch and eat and read a book by yourself in a corner and just chill. Not everyone can do that though, I guess. But what you guys don't realize, because even Tavia asked me last night, she thinks I'm depressed. I'm like, no, you try spending majority of your life always in the spotlight and having to please everybody else and always have to have somebody there. Somebody always wants you there. You're people pleasing all day. So even for my job I have to go back to, it's all customer service. And even though I'm saving lives and helping to make another life and make life easier for others, it's not always fun to be in high demand on a constant. That's why somebody asked me, it's like, you should be a supervisor. This is your position. You can do this. I don't want the pressure. I'll be an angel from the background. Keep it simple. I learned from being a boss. I just want to do my job and go home. I don't want the added pressure. I don't want to sit there and have to crack the whip on anybody. I just need to get the job done, make somebody's life happier. That's why I get the gifts and the flowers, and people always ask for me. And that's a blessing too, because I've lived on both sides of the fence. For what I've done for my brother, this is why I say God makes no mistakes. So even for my brother before he passed, interesting how karma works. So the life that he lived led him to his disability. His mouth running with the wrong crowd. But being hit upside the head, a steel chair, had a stroke, comas. He had really bad seizures, really bad epilepsy. He started getting dementia too towards the end. He really did. But I had to be his care provider at one point, even though I gave him the money. And whenever he was homeless, I had to find an apartment for him or something for him too, even to help with the down payment. It's hard forgiveness. And then even ultimately, because he could not take care of himself and people were taking advantage of him, I had to be his conservator at one point. Even down at the funeral, I had to be power of attorney and made all the arrangements. But I've seen what it's like to be on that side and having to care for someone. And so I show a lot more compassion with that for others that I service in that same department for in-home support. Because I know what it's like and I know it's hard. Some people come to work to just do a job. You have to love what you do. And I really do. I miss that. I really do miss my job. I can't wait to come back. It's just the politics and these egos and pride that happens in the employees for some people. And so for Mr. Retired Social Worker, my little boo thing, he has been in that field for over 20 some years at that office and he has a whole lot of background before that. But he does not miss coming back to that job for situations just like that. And I get it. And speaking of him too, so this is what's going to happen with me. I cannot. I'm rediscovering myself right now, girl. That's why I'm doing these random adventures by myself. I'm just spending time alone. But he's a sweetheart. In fact, he sent me a message yesterday after I just sent him one this morning and we saw in the bag. He's very patient. He's a whole 180 of what Dante is. Thank you. He's very warm and sweet and nurturing and no drama, and he really is good to me and for me. I like his energy. But at this point, because of the situation with Dante, and I kind of just really want my own space because he's been single so long. Now it's time for him. He's ready to kind of boo up and like look for a relationship. He's leading to that area. He's opening himself more to me. And here I am on lockdown with the Dante thing, trying to get rid of this whole situation, but still be friends. And it's so complicated. And he knows about Dante. They know about each other. But it's not fair to him if this situation is not fully closed out. He does not deserve to be hurt. And so he's giving me space, still supportive, still a good friend. In fact, we have a date coming up this week because our other event got canceled. And then there's baby daddy. But as far as any other newcomers, I say, like, even for Big Red, even though that was an amazing adventure, he blew my phone up too. God, these Cubs, there's a lot going on in my life. But I'm really enjoying being single. And there's nothing wrong with having company, like here and there, and going out and having lunch and going like to events and stuff like that. But I like my own company. I'm not looking for anything serious right now. Not everybody requires to be married. I'm trying to phase that. I think that stuff's going to be phased out, by the way. That's too much of a headache and a heartache and just too much obligation. And it's not worth it. You're talking to someone who's been around the block a few times. But, yeah, so I'm gonna have to dismiss the Cubs from the picture. So I have 2 contenders and trying to close one out, but still on a peaceful note because the intervention did not go so well. It went well, but not that well. But I still want to maintain my life. I miss seeing my friends and people who I've grown up with and running into people who have been a part of my life. And I shouldn't have to make a choice between friends and a lover. Like Morris, he's very open and free like that. He's very trusting. And so if I want to have lunch with my friend, homeboy, my high school sweetheart, Hassani, or Howard, because we go way back since like 10th grade, even more, you know what I'm saying? Let me have lunch with my friends. I shouldn't have to report to anybody about what I do. Speaking of which, I'm not going to do it this Sunday, because Sunday, I'm taking a lazy day this week. But at least once a month, maybe twice a month. And as we're all local, as you know, I like to cook. And my stereo system's coming, it's going down. But let's do like a Sunday dinner. Like just even potluck something, not just use this. Even I miss my God, bro. I still have yet to see him, even though we reconnected. But a couple of my SBC or St. Pascal's fam, my high school friends, people I run into recently, Grant, his little girlfriend. This would be nice. I miss that camaraderie. And just everybody have a good time, play some dominoes, play some Oakmonopoly, play some games, have a conversation, just chill, have some drinks, be happy. Not trying to hobnob and be a socialite, but just small gatherings. But maybe once a month, do something. And I'd love to have you over. I love the fact I'm surrounding myself with positive energy. That's why I'm trying to maintain positive energy. So, not sorry to ramble. You asked me, what do I want to do? What makes me happy? And I'm doing that now. Right now, it's taking a break finally from everything and just breathing comfortably. I really feel blessed. You have no idea. In so many different ways. Even to see my son. God's making everything happen for a reason. And I have to have a conversation with him on some other notes, because even before running into him, I've already had my mind about real estate, and I need to reinstate my license. That's an SBC fam right there. I'm going to hit him up in a second. Funny. What's up, blood? Oh, my God. I miss being one of the fellas, dude. I don't know. But it'd be nice to just do some activities. But I'm starting to figure out what I want to do. So I'm going to reinstate my license, too. I don't even need to. But it's funny that I already have that thinking of mine already, and then I see my son, and he's on a very similar path with me. I love his vision. But what do I want to do? I want to be happy. I want to do something that's going to not just help to heal me, but to spiritually help others and give back and make somebody else's day happy and smile without destroying somebody. I want to go to the beach, which I probably might do today. I'm going to a comedy show tonight. I just want to be happy. I like my peace of mind. And then Tavia asked me if at all do I miss my mother? And is it worth saving? And that sounds fucked up to say, but as someone, but you know pretty much everything and seen some things for yourself, sometimes your family could hurt you worse than your enemies ever could, your family. And too much damage has been done. I really like the fact that I didn't realize how toxic certain energies were. So when Wayne, my stepbrother, and even my ex-best friend, and even my brother, my dad, everybody said that house was evil, my mom, and just to stay away from them. And I wanted so bad to have a relationship with her and tried so hard to be accepted. That's a part of people using manipulation of passive aggressive behaviors and all this other shit to try to control you. One of the best things I could have ever done was did that restraining order and disconnect myself from the entire side because it was not good for me. It was full of life lessons. But no, I don't miss her. I pray for her, though. I chant for her. But sometimes you have to let go of the things that weigh you down so you can grow and be you. Don't change for nobody else but you. You find your happiness. Don't let anybody sit there and manipulate you and tell you otherwise. So anyway, I love you, sis. I'm going to put this on Facebook, of course, because I'm sitting here rambling, but I'm going to start working on my book. I have a to-do list to go through. But I'm going to send the invite for that comedy club tonight if you want to come through as well. But I'll talk to you later. Bye.